Hi everybody, Nick McDonald here. Welcome to this week's ICE commentary on the Russell 2000 and equity markets. Starting with the monthly chart, no change there. Still looking bullish, still looking like we should get up through 850 in the coming months and potentially even the coming weeks. Monthly chart looking very bullish and a nice strong uptrend, very little resistance in the way. When we come and look at it on the weekly, we see there's just a slight bit more of resistance at 850, but still looking very bullish. And in fact, we're in the middle of a weekly trade setup here whereby we've broken up through the week here from 2 weeks ago. This would be entry and stop based on this setup, and ultimately there what I'm saying is that this would project out at least a 1-to-1 target around about here. So this is looking like even on the weekly chart breaking up through this 850 level and going higher, even though there is certainly some concern over that resistance. Coming down to the daily chart, what we'll see here is the same kind of pattern playing out on the daily, which I just said happened on the weekly a few weeks ago. We've come up, we've made a higher high here, we've pulled into the averages, we've now got a bullish daily candle. So what this means is if we broke up through the high of Friday's candle early this week, this will be looking very bullish indeed. And in fact, let's just move this line so it's just at the high. So we'll be looking to say if we break up through that high before breaking the low, then that would be entry and stop loss in terms of a hypothetical trade setup here, but projecting a target up around those highs. And if we zoom out and look at where that gets us to, it certainly is getting us up around these old highs around about 856. So that's where I think the market should be heading, and I think they'll be heading there this week. And just come and have a look at why I'm also particularly bullish on the index markets. I really like some of these other markets. So notice that the daily candle on the Russell was quite big on Friday, but notice here on the Dow, for example, we've run up, we've had a much better pullback because the Dow was more bullish. We've had a much better pullback. We've got the small bullish candle. I love these small bullish candles. It's right on what I call the moving average buy zone. It looks particularly strong. It's also right at 13,000. So see there where the Dow has pulled back, and these lows finding support right at 13,000, which is a big number in previous resistance. The high is right at 13,100, so it just so happens that it's both big numbers, and a break up through 13.1 is going to set us up for a move higher to minimum 13.2, and stop is well protected down there below that 13,000 big figure. Even the weekly chart there looking particularly bullish, and the Dow looking very, very strong. Coming and looking at the S&P, just quickly looking at the others. S&P is a very similar situation to the Dow. Nice run up, nice pullback, nice small bullish candle. Not as small as the Dow, so I don't like it as much for that reason. And a little bit more overextended from the averages on the weekly chart. So not quite as good as the Dow. And then come in and just quickly looking at the Nasdaq. This has obviously been the most bullish of all of them, and certainly leading the pack, and still continues to with a weekly chart quite overextended. But this daily pullback is good, as in we've run up, we've just had a little pullback here for a couple of days, we've come back, we've touched the averages, and that's setting up for a push on again as well. So coming back and just wrapping up how this translates back to the Russell, all of the equity markets are looking very bullish, the Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq, and that combines here with the Russell to say this is looking like a particularly strong week. I've marked some levels on this chart. I'm looking for a break up through Friday's high, and a hypothetical stop loss here for a trade will be down below these lows. When I say hypothetical, that of course depends on any strategy for you, but a strategy for me is exactly that, a break up through the high on Friday and a stop down below this low. Looking for a target up at these highs. I always check, is there resistance in the way of my target? And in fact, bearing in mind this is also just the first target, it's perfect. It's coming back into these highs here, and back into these highs up here around about 856, but looking good. And when we came and looked at this on the weekly and monthly, also looking like we should be breaking up through those highs in any case and actually pushing on higher. So I'm particularly bullish. I really like the Russell this week. I really like it for the next few weeks. It looks strong, but we do need to see a break up through Friday's highs across all of the index markets, not just the Russell, but also the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq. And if we do that, if we break the highs of Friday before breaking the lows, then I think we will be setting up for a nice run up in the first, say, 2 to 3 days of this week, and potentially even continuing on for the rest of the week as well. Hope that helps everybody. Happy trading. Have a fantastic week. Speak to you on next week's update.